Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to dive into Gamestorming by Dave Gray, Sunni Brown, and James Macanufo. And let's be honest, it's a book that promises to fix something we all dread, the soul-crushing, unproductive meeting. The book kicks off with this fantastic quote. And it's so perfect, right? It connects that funny, literal-minded children's book character, Amelia Bedelia, to those moments at work where a simple misunderstanding leads to total frustration and sometimes costly mistakes. We've all been there. So at its heart, this book is basically a toolkit designed to stop those Amelia Bedelia moments from ever happening. It's for anybody who sat in a meeting and thought, there has got to be a better way to do this. All right, so what's the big problem this book is trying to solve? Well, the authors argue that the work we do today, so-called knowledge work, is a whole different beast than the factory work of the past. The challenges we face now demand creativity, but for most people, that creative process feels like a complete mystery, a black box. And here's the thing, we can't afford to just leave creativity to the creative types anymore. The whole goal of Gamestorming is to give everyone a set of tools to crack open that black box and unlock their own innovative thinking. So that brings us to the core idea of the whole book. How do you make creativity a reliable, repeatable process, instead of just waiting for a random stroke of genius? The answer is surprisingly simple and kind of fun. You play games. But hold on, it's probably not what you're thinking. See, when they say game, they don't just mean fooling around. A game, in this context, is a structured activity. It's got boundaries, it's got rules, and it has a very clear goal. It's what you use when you know where you want to go, but you have absolutely no idea how to get there. And this distinction is really important. Unstructured play is awesome. It's freeform, it's associative. But the games in this book are different. They create a safe, structured space, like a sandbox, where a team can explore really complex challenges and collaborate in a much more effective way. Okay, so how does this actually work in the real world? Well, the book organizes its huge library of games into a really simple three-phase process. It's like a three-act play for problem solving. Every single Gamestorming session follows this natural rhythm. First, you open up, go wide, get every possible idea on the table. Then you explore. You start to poke around and see how those ideas connect in new ways. And finally, you close down. This is where you make choices and commit to a plan of action. Let's look at an example. In that opening phase, you might play a game called Cover Story. This one is so cool. Your team pretends you've become so successful you've landed on the cover of, say, Forbes or Wired. You actually design the cover. It's a fantastic way to get everyone to stop thinking about limitations and align on a really bold, exciting vision. Okay, then in the exploring phase, you might use a classic like the 5 Whys. This is a super powerful way to stop putting band-aids on problems. You state a problem, and you just keep asking why. It forces you to drill down past the obvious symptoms to find the actual root cause. And finally, when it's time to close and make a decision, you can use a simple technique like dot voting. Everyone gets a few little stickers to vote for their favorite ideas. It's a quick, visual, and democratic way to see where the group's energy is, and to move from just talking about ideas to actually doing something about them. Now, beyond that three-part structure, the book is just loaded with these big, powerful insights. Let's look at 4 of the most important ones, captured in some really great quotes. First up, embrace a little randomness. I love this quote from Leonardo da Vinci. He found inspiration just by staring at stained walls. Our brains are pattern-making machines, so if you inject something random into your process, you force your brain to break its old habits and see things in a totally new light. This next one is huge. You cannot be creative and critical at the same time. It's just impossible. The book makes it crystal clear. You need a time for generating ideas, the opening phase, and a totally separate time for judging them, the closing phase. If you try to do both at once, your inner critic will kill every good idea before it even has a chance to breathe. Third lesson, make your work visible. Get it out of your head. Using things like sticky notes and whiteboards puts everyone's ideas into a shared space. Once an idea is tangible, the whole group can see it, move it around, and build on it together. It's a total game changer. And finally, you have to master the art of asking good questions. The way you frame a question determines everything that follows. The authors call them fire starters, because a really good question is the most powerful tool you have to spark curiosity and kick off the entire problem-solving journey. All right, so after all that, what's our final take on Gamestorming? Honestly, the biggest lesson here is that this book completely demystifies innovation. It shows you that it's not some magic lightning strike that only hits a few chosen geniuses. Nope, innovation is a process. It's a skill that can be learned, practiced, and led by anyone using these smart, structured games. So the pros? This book is incredibly practical. You can literally read about a game and use it in a meeting the next day. And with over 80 games, there's something for pretty much any situation. The cons? Well, that huge library can be a little overwhelming if you're new to this. And it really helps to have at least one person who's excited to lead the charge and champion this new way of working. For its sheer usefulness, its powerful framework, and its very real potential to transform how teams collaborate and solve problems, we're giving Gamestorming a final score of 8.5 out of 10. And if you liked the ideas in this book, you should definitely check out a couple of others. Sprint by Jake Knapp is fantastic if you want a super focused 5-day process for tackling huge challenges. And The Lean Startup by Eric Ries is essential for its focus on rapid experimentation and learning. So, we'll leave you with this final thought. The next time you're stuck in one of those meetings that's just going in circles, don't just zone out. Ask yourself, what game could we play right now to solve this? The answer might just change everything.